So there's something called the acoustic reflex, which helps to protect sensitive structures inside the inner ear. A structure called the cochlea, we'll see contains a membrane that runs down its coiled middle, and there are specialized cells that are called hair cells that sit upon that membrane. And if there are sounds that are of too great intensity, like too big a difference between the highest compression air pressure and the greatest rarefaction, these are sounds that are perceived as louder sounds. They can also do significantly more, damage. They can move things. They can mechanically damage, these hair cells in our inner ear, and we can lose hearing. So there's something called the acoustic reflex, which helps to prevent, really loud sounds from doing, significant damage. And it's also known as the middle ear muscle reflex, or the MEM reflex. And in animals, there are two muscles that are involved, and in humans, it seems to be one. So the eardrum, the tympanic membrane, is linked, via the ossicles, those little bones, including the malleus, then the incus, and then the stapes or stirrup. And the stapes pokes in to this flexible oval window. It's called the oval window, to transmit the energy, of the movement of the drum, into the fluid, of the cochlea of the inner ear. And there's a muscle attached to both the stapes, the smallest bone in our body, and also another muscle attached to the malleus, which is the bone that's attached to the inner ear, or sorry, the eardrum. And so the muscle attached to the stapes is called the Stapedius muscle. And the Stapedius muscle will tense in response to very, high, intensity acoustic stimuli, big pressure differences. It takes about 200 milliseconds before that muscle tenses to help to, prevent the transmission. It increases the impedance, basically, of that middle ear in terms of transmitting energy, so you get less of the energy working its way into the cochlea where it could damage hair cells. And then in many animals, actually, there's that other muscle. It attaches to the malleus, which is attached to the eardrum or the tympanic membrane. This is called the tensor tympani, because when it's contracted, it tenses, the tympani, and increases the impedance there as well. And in humans, our acoustic reflex, or middle ear muscle reflex, seems to be primarily mediated by the Stapedius muscle. However, our tensor tympani will also tense, but typically when we are chewing our food, when we chew our food, we get like tension in the tensor tympani, and that helps to reduce the input of energy from the chewing, so we don't hear ourselves